Hey there everybody, welcome to the channel. We got our first outing with the new Nikon 180 to 600 and it was definitely no slouch. It was super enjoyable to use. Had it strapped for about 5 years. If you want to see a review on that, go check it out. I'll put a link up above. First thoughts after using this for an air show in Cleveland. Initially, nice thing about it is the switches are a little more recessed than on the Sigma, so that you won't bump them and accidentally change it from autofocus to manual. So that was a nice surprise. And the lens foot is so much bigger that even with the black rapid strap on here, you can hold it and this doesn't really get in the way, unlike on the Sigma, it was always in. And the short throw made it super easy and quick to switch between different airplanes during performances. The lens gets super hot in the sun. Like, it wasn't like, you know, burning your hand or anything, but it definitely became uncomfortable to hold. And just for reference, it was blue skies and sunny out, about 90 degrees. Future, I might put some kind of skin on here from Avgard, not really sure yet. The Z9 has a green skin on it, and it doesn't look too bad, but I kind of just wish it was just white, to be honest, just a black and white skin. So here in a second, we're going to get into some photos, videos, before and after editing, stabilization, all that stuff. We'll just make it quick and simple. That way you don't have to sit here and spend and watch, you know, an hour video and gain nothing. And for what it's worth, it does fit in my V20 retrospective camera bag. So it fits in there nice with it not being attached to the camera. So we'll just get to the EVF part, and I'll show you some examples from the Zcam IP Man Gemini. Just showing you how the EVF fared with the lens, putting the camera in vehicle detection and auto area. It pretty much went right to the cockpit or the front of the aircraft in most situations, but never really let go of the aircraft. So that was kind of to be expected, to be honest, but I just thought these would be some clips that people might want to see, and generally they seem to be pretty popular. And it shows you the exposure settings I'm using as well for the different photo and video. And you can tell when I'm taking a video whenever there is a red box around the outline of the EVF. Also, turning on vehicle detection and turning off people detection let you just ignore everyone around you, so you weren't worried about the camera jumping to something close like a person's head or something. So when it comes to handheld video, we're going to give a couple examples before stabilization and after. Then we have planar tracker stabilization and resolve done, so you can see how that worked out. And then we'll have a segment here just showing it fully edited, color corrected, whole 9 yards on that. And then the second example is going to be a brake on the Thunderbirds as they flew out of their formation. And just a quick note here, it is nice to see that the stabilization in the lens works really well with the IBIS. It is not as jerky, it's a lot more smooth. The EVF stays nice and smooth, it doesn't bounce all over the place. And the video doesn't have a whole lot of jitters in it when you go to stabilize it. And just as a note, I shot this whole thing in VR sport mode, and you have to select that in camera. There's no VR switch on the lens. Then we have the Resolve Studio stabilized with the planar tracker and a little bit of regular stabilization tossed in there with perspective, and then the final edit just to show how it looks after a little bit of color correction, raising some shadows and highlights and all that jazz. The next thing I was really looking forward to seeing how it worked was for panning on subjects for slow shutter speeds. Now I want to do this more with ducks and obviously racing, sport bikes, you know, motor cars, all that stuff. But this is going to be something I'm going to try and implement also into aviation. So the first example we have is just blurring the props on C-130. You can see as we pass through, the exposure comes up on the bottom, and they're all pretty tack sharp. And for the most part, I would say I easily got 30 to 40% of the shots nice, stabilized, and sharp using Sport VR. But when we go in here and we pixel peep real close at 100%, you can see some of them are a little bit blurry, some of them aren't super sharp, but some are really, really sharp. But for the most part, a lot of these are easily going to pass for being sharp. So if you want to go tack sharp. Like if this picture's perfect, I'd say maybe 10%, 15%, but completely usable, easily 30 to 40% of your shots. In another example, we have a Coast Guard helicopter here, shot at a little bit slower shutter speed, hit a further zoom on the lens, as the C-130 was 200 millimeters, this one's 600, and the helicopter was going a little bit slower. It also takes a slower shutter speed to blur the main rotor. But as we do pixel peep this as well, you can see some are a little bit better than others, but for the most part, this whole series is completely usable. If you want, to worry more on having a perfect sharp image, you're definitely going to get a couple at 1/125th of a second. And it also comes down to, are you better at holding the camera than me, or are you worse than holding the camera than me? It just comes down to your personal skills as well, not just the lens and the camera doing it for you. So some people might have a higher hit rate or a lower hit rate, but I can tell you right now, I can definitely see a difference between the new Nikon lens and the old Sigma Contemporary on the FTZ adapter. And just some bonus tip here at the end, I kind of learned this the other day, not on purpose, is as you can see, I took a whole bunch of pictures of this F-18 passing by, going almost Mach 1, and I did not keep the plane dead center. So what happened was, I missed a little bit of the plane here, a little bit there, got some here, got some there. So I did a panorama stitch by selecting all the images, and then whenever I did the panorama, it gave me a whole plane, which was super cool. And honestly, I think it was worth it. Just trying to do a pano of a plane, because you made a mistake, but it was easily to fix. So when it comes to my final thoughts on the lens for the first time out, there was a lot of vapor in the air. It was very humid, it was 90 degrees, a lot of jet exhaust was coming off certain planes like the Harrier, so it kind of made the images a little ripply, a little wavy, just from the heat. And it was kind of hard to judge sharpness with all that atmospheric conditions. But overall, I would say that this lens is still sharper than the Sigma, but at this point it's hard to tell how much of a percentage that is. It's more of a gut feeling at this point. But coming up here, we're going to do a comparison between the Nikon and the Sigma, and we're going to have probably, I want to say 7 to 10 different categories. We'll try to run some check marks on it and do real world testing and examples. And coming up soon, in the next week or so, I should be receiving a new camera. I ordered a ZFC to do my B-roll footage, talking head like this. That way I can hold the Z9 and show examples of using lenses and stuff. So that's going to be super helpful in the upcoming comparison video. But if you have any questions about the air show, anything I missed on the lens for air shows or aviation, even wildlife, comment down below. And like the video, subscribe to the channel, really appreciate that. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss the next comparison video between the Sigma and the Nikon. And until then, I'll see you out there. Happy shooting. Wish you the best of luck.